Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Tap House Talks. I am Ryno, and today I am not at Disney's Hollywood Studios. I am at Disney California Adventure in the Disneyland Resort, just outside of Pim's Test Kitchen and Pim's Tasting Lab, because I want to do a very special themed Tap House Talks, where it's going to be a new type of a show, where I'm calling it a Disney Brawl. And this one is going to be characters who are facing off against each other, and it is going to be Captain America versus Iron Man. More on that in a second. Before we get started, I want to remind everybody that this and everything that we do here is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney World, any type of Disney vacation. When you book with them, it costs you nothing extra on your trip, and you help support the channel and all the content that we produce. So check them out, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com, for a free, no obligation quote today. And this is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. If you want to learn more about how you can get exclusive Diz content from different members of the team, head over to patreon.com/DizUnlimited. Now that I have said that, my very special guest today is the one, the only Hurricane Hannah Anderson.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Welcome back.
West Coast,
Welcome
West Coast.
Well, thank you for doing this very first version of the show that I hope to do more.
Special, thank you.
It happened, the idea for this came out of a very heated debate that I continually have and will have on the show soon with my friend Amber, because she hates Buzz Lightyear and I like Buzz Lightyear more than Woody, but we always go back and forth and we're always like, prove your case in court. So I thought, since we were out here on the West Coast at the Disneyland Resort, more importantly at the Avengers Campus, that we could have a conversation that she and I also have, but I asked you secretly earlier. I was like, Hannah, are you Team Iron Man or Team Captain America? And what did you say?
Only one right answer, Captain America.
Incorrect. And so today we are going to have a debate. This is just a fun episode. You know, I'm like, these are the types of conversations you have with friends. Like you get into the heated debate about, you know, oh, this thing or that movie or this character or that show or whatever.
Passionate, okay?
Yeah, and what better place to have it than, you know,
right here in their backyard.
In the themed land.
Yeah,
and so
maybe they'll show up. Maybe they can weigh in.
I don't think maybe I saw Black Panther walk by a second ago, but as with any Tap House Talks, we do have some cocktails in front of us. Well, drinks, I should say, but today they're cocktails. Hannah, what'd you get?
Okay, so I mixed it up this time. Actually, I have two favorites here. Ryno has my number one fave right now, but I did sneak in here and have it earlier in the trip. So I'm having a beer cocktail because, you know, Martini Mom, she can be humble sometimes. So this is a Honey Fusion 2.0. It's $18, and you get to keep this little souvenir plastic beaker. Hey, fun fact, if you don't know what to do with these, you have a kid, it's a great bathtub toy. So there you go. You can be a good parent and have yourself a little something too.
I bring them back to the resort because I'm always like, I need an extra glass when I get a beer or something. You pour it in the beer or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
that's
it's
right.
good. You never know when you're going to need a cup.
That is true. So this drink is made with Jack Daniel's Honey Whiskey and Voodoo Ranger Juice Force IPA with lemonade and honey syrup and a mint sprig. So I got to tell you about this. There is a drink that is kind of similar, but it is based with tequila, and it has
that's the habanero one.
Yeah, and it's good, but sometimes it's a little too sweet. So I feel like it's the beer, the IPA, that kind of like levels this out a little bit. I don't feel like I have heartburn afterwards. And I pushed my mint sprig down in there, but anything with mint in a cocktail I'm usually happy about.
Well, that one too, specifically that Voodoo Ranger Juice Force IPA is pretty
it's refreshing.
Pretty up there ABV beer too. But
good thing I walked back to the hotel.
I went with the R&D Martini, which is $20. It is an espresso martini with cereal infused milk, dark chocolate espresso beans, and cereal crumbles. And this looks like it's got Butterfinger on top.
Ooh, yes.
Which I love, and there is a lot of this foam today, and this is good. So
mix it all
I'm gonna have a little sip here, and then we'll get started on our fun little conversation. And the point of this is I want everyone out there who is either listening or watching, I want comments going on YouTube. You can tweet at us, however you need to get out there. I need to know, you know, who's made the better case and which team are you? That's the most important thing. So
right answers only.
Here, cheers to the last time that we were friends.
Cheers to America.
I'm doing my little, I'm getting a little thumbnail. Here, cheers to me because the Guardians of the Galaxy Tower is behind us. There you go. That was great.
Cute. Yeah, this is pretty cool.
Great
I mean,
for the
how about
listening
this
crowd.
for like atmosphere too?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I like to be in the park having the conversation about the thing. It's just
Yeah.
doing, So first things first, I want you to plead your case. Why are you Team Cap? Oh, I just want you to give me the pitch for why Captain America is the best Avenger. Do you feel like he is the best Avenger?
Absolutely.
Question one. Okay. Now tell me why.
All right, 2 words. America's booty. That's censored. That's really all I have to say, honestly. No, he is a veteran, okay? He served his country not once, but twice by choice. He's a team leader, too.
Sorry,
and,
scratched up.
everybody's like fighting over vibranium, and he's like, I got a dang shield made out of vibranium. And again, America's booty.
So I am Team Iron Man because for me, I feel like one, the Avengers wouldn't have happened without him. You don't have to be just the money, but Iron Man is what I want more people to be like. Think about him in Iron Man 1 where he was very like, didn't care, they were in the arms business.
Womanizer.
Yeah, and he turned that around and changed for good, and he changes his mind for the better. But also, there's no way...
So you're saying people can change?
Well, and I am also saying that Iron Man is the reason why half of the universe got snapped back into existence. He did that. He made the time travel possible, and he also was the one who sacrificed himself. So I'm going to say, now...
The sacrificing yourself, that's pretty good. I mean, I'll give you that. Also, he's like, he may have a lot of money, but he's also smart. How many people can say that? Like, he's not resting on his laurels.
Billionaire, philanthropist.
Yeah. I think that's what it says, right?
I'm going to give you a counterpoint why I don't think that Steve Rogers is the best Avengers. The best Avenger. I'm going to say Steve Rogers, Captain America.
Steve Rogers, that is correct. Because I am talking about Steve Rogers.
Also, because Sam Wilson is just a regular guy who never had the super serum, which is like, wow, that's an even bigger responsibility. But
I know, but time will tell on that. I feel like we might be too early to say. So you bring up a good point.
No. Wait, I'm going to make my point about why I think. Yeah,
maybe I don't want you to make your point in case you win.
I want to point out like how in the arc of the characters, I feel like. Steve Rogers ends. I feel okay. You know what?
His ending's great.
Yeah, no. But here's the thing.
Is that not what you want for your grandparents or whatever?
No, I watched Avengers Endgame the other day, and technically, Steve Rogers, by the movie's logic, fractured time because he takes all the Infinity Stones at the end of Endgame, and he says, I'm going to go put them back. And he goes back, and then old man Steve is sitting there on the bench, which is fine and dandy, except for that Steve that went back saw Peggy in a hospital with her family, I might add, her grandchildren, whatever. Also, he kissed her niece, gross.
Yeah, I don't like to think
the niece kissed her, but...
Yeah, and turns out she was a villain, so,
I don't think she was a villain. I think they left her high and dry way too much. But she's a...
Fair, but she's not a villain.
I don't blame her, but...
I suppose. But
So he goes back and does that, so essentially wiping out the existence of all this family because he was selfish and lonely and went back to Peggy and like, I don't even know what year. So that logic, I know it ends on that like sweet note, but I'm always like...
Did you not tear up?
No, I don't care. I did cry.
What?
I cried in Endgame so much when Iron Man does the snap and they're all, and Spider-Man swings up to him and he's like, Mr. Stark. And then Rhodey comes up to him and then Pepper comes up to him and she's like, hey, Tony? And she's like, you can rest. And she's like crying and just like, oh.
I know, but I gotta tell you, to me, okay, this brings up a good point, kind of unrelated, but I think that Captain America, Steve and Peggy have a better love story than Pepper and Iron Man.
Okay, I disagree because if you're taking it just at face value for the movie, he knows Peggy for an hour and 15 minutes.
I know, but you know what they say? They say love at first sight. That's a fairy tale you want to believe in.
Yeah, and then they move in together and Steve farts too much at night and she's like, why? And they can't.
I know, but it was harder to do it back then. It's like, well, we got the thing and, whatever. To me, that is that's one of my that's an MCU relationship that's here and everybody else is down here. I
was rooting for Pepper and Tony. Here's the thing, though. I should say across the board, I'm not a big
Pepper falls flat for me.
I don't
say
need
that?
superhero romance. I don't like that. I feel like that's very late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
Mary Jane and Spider-Man are the only romances that we really care about. MJ, Spider-Man, the rest are I don't need it. I don't need it.
But I think you just turned counterpoint on your argument. You like the human element to Captain America, to Tony Stark. You know what I mean? And so that is the human element of Steve Rogers, is that, and also
Here's,
okay, this is
go.
just,
Yeah.
I've only had 2 sips of my drink and I'm getting heated, but also, I feel like, if you're going to save the whole world, I mean, tell me you wouldn't put your babies
world.
first.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
wouldn't put your pups first.
Yeah, but who does that? Iron Man. Not Steve Rogers.
but
he had nothing.
No, but
Steve could have just disappeared from existence and he would have been fine.
So I do have some
essentially he did.
questions.
He just left us all.
I
he
know.
did I will say this.
He's a
did
veteran.
more than
He's
enough
nice.
where he is welcome to retire. I hope he has
That
a great
is true.
pension plan.
He probably does. Yeah, that's true. So
Actually, that's not true because in the Falcon and Winter Soldier, they talk about that essentially they don't really get paid. So, because you're how do you live? And I think they bring that up a little bit.
just endorsements or something.
Okay, I want to take it from another angle now. Let's look at it movie for movie, okay?
Oh.
All right, so let's just do Iron Man 1
Okay, right.
versus Captain
Yeah.
America, the first Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
I
Also,
think
hold on.
What?
I gotta stop you right there. To quote Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Martin.
No.
Ricky Bobby.
If you ain't first, you're last.
If you ain't living La Vida Loca.
Well, that's also true.
Yeah.
So, first Avenger.
to quote Ricky Martin, she bangs. No, I don't know.
Who? Pepper?
Well, I guess you could say Peggy, but I don't know. That's neither here nor there.
All's fair in love and war.
I think that Iron Man 1 is the movie that kicked off the MCU, and I am not saying
You're right.
the follow-ups to that were not necessarily great along the way.
It was
or
a
anything.
stretch, right?
However,
Didn't do justice.
I do not like. Let's talk about Captain America: The First Avenger. I don't like that movie. It is one of my least favorite MCU movies.
Why?
Because I look at when I watched it in the first of all, I had
not enjoyable?
No, it's not. I had an awful.
Did you not like the show here at DCA? The Captain America show.
Yeah, but that's something pulled from Hawkeye. So that's not even his own thing.
Well, but it's mostly Captain.
Well, so
I could do this all day.
The thing about that first movie, that Captain America, I had an awful viewing experience in the movie theater with it, one of the worst I've ever had. So that kind of soured me a little bit. But when I rewatch the movie, every time I go to rewatch it, I fall asleep. It is a montage movie. It's not beginning to end. It's
right.
all these clips, and I get it. It's supposed to be the highest of life because they really were trying to force it to be he's got to be in the Avengers movie, so we've got to just speed this part of the Steve Rogers stories aside. So it feels like Steve Rogers as Captain America is 20 minutes, and you're and also.
But I
everything that happens, it's the Red Skull is supposed to be Steve Rogers' biggest nemesis, and I understand everything got weird with that, but
with all those villains, really.
he also just goes on an airplane and then is oh shoot,
oh shoot, I'm frozen.
Better crash it in the ice. Can't think fast enough. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I will say this about both of those movies, about Iron Man 1 and Captain America and Peggy and Pepper. I think those 4 characters are perfectly cast. I know that you don't like Pepper; she falls flat with you. But Tony Stark and Steve Rogers
I agree,
were
she's cast
definitely
right.
perfectly bad. And then Haley Atwell as Agent Carter is perfect.
I know, that is so true. Yeah, I think I don't really love Gwyneth Paltrow. She's just not a vibe for me. So that might be part of it. Is I'm putting that on Pepper.
I pretty much just like her in these movies. I can't think of another movie I like her in, except for the movie Hook. But she is in that for literally 3 seconds.
Yeah, and it's Hook.
Peter!
That's
what she does.
Direct
that
quote.
was it. Yeah, there we go.
I don't know. To me, and maybe
now we're gonna have a copyright strike.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Again, so for me, and this is not helping my argument per se, but I should have lived during the 40s. I should have been a Rosie the Riveter with my Victory Garden, and so it appeals to me. I think that big band music just puts you to sleep. It's great. You know,
Okay,
that,
so
like, all those 40
you know what?
jams.
If I'm looking at it like that, I also think like the Iron Man aesthetic appeals to me more because I do like sleek
You like living that fast
modernism,
life?
future. Well, no, I mean I don't
I
like
know.
his Playboy style or things like that. But
Yeah, I
I
know.
love the Jarvis. I relate. I not relate. I mean but Tony's a very like kind of guarded person who does care, but does come off like very cold, very aloof, very like whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm not whatever. Sorry, I thought my mic slipped down into my
Ooh.
thing. But
Shoot me it back up.
so I don't know. I like his character is very charming, but also Chris Evans as Steve Rogers is also it was
Okay.
the movie that really nailed him down for me, where it was like this guy is perfect as Captain America was the first Avengers movie, which is his second
yes.
appearance.
Okay.
And I was like, I would not recast Steve Rogers as anybody else.
No,
other than him.
absolutely. I would not. Yeah, I agree with that. So, question for you: going rogue again, who's more attractive, Steve Rogers or Tony Stark?
Steve Rogers isn't really my type.
So try to,
but also like Robert Downey Jr.'s gotten a lot. I think they're both very handsome men.
Well, he's aged like fine wine, so
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, it's maybe that's part of it. Steve Rogers. The only thing I'm struggling with is like any movie that he does now. I'm like, that's Captain America. Like when he's silly in movies, I'm like, you're Captain America.
You know,
can't be silly.
if I were to pick somebody in the MCU, we already know that I'm married to Winston Dukes M'Baku. You know,
I feel
so
that.
I'm not
Yeah.
in it to win it for the other two. But
what's the villain's name in that?
the Red Skull,
No. In
Black Panther. Oh, you like Michael B. Jordan? Yeah.
Who doesn't like Michael B. Jordan?
Obviously.
You like?
No, obviously I do. I'm not. I have eyes.
That's right. I know. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. The next two movies, Iron Man 2 versus Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Iron Man 2 is like, it's not great. And Captain America, the Winter
It's
Soldier
also
is...
not great. I think
Are you
it's not great.
freaking kidding me? You know objectively it's probably like the best Marvel movie.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Compared to
Are you
Endgame? Are you talking about Avengers or like
I'm talking
Avengers
about all
as a
the
collective?
movies. I'm talking about the Winter
Girl, this has
Soldier,
gone so
the
sideways.
90s political thriller themed The Winter Soldier. No, you don't like it?
Do you like Bucky? I mean, like what
No,
is-
I do not like Bucky. So the Bucky, I'm
That's
going to get to it. I'm going to get to it with Civil War about how I think Captain America is actually a terrible person. But
Oh.
I didn't remember who Bucky was when I watched it because I was like, I don't care. But it's not really about Bucky. It's about Hydra and that infiltration. And it's
Right.
also a story about a man from the 40s injected into modern time.
That's
a guy
true,
who
which needed
sees
to
black
happen.
and white in a time of gray.
That is
And
true.
I like the dichotomy between him and Nick Fury and the
Yeah.
not Scarlet Witch, Black Widow in that
Okay,
movie
yeah,
too.
yeah,
She really
yeah.
shines.
Yeah, I feel like Black
I
Widow.
cannot believe you just said that was you're. We should
I'm
end
drinking
this.
a beer cocktail, okay? You should have known. Also, Loki just swapped by. He probably had an opinion about this. He walked
I'm
over
also
that
like
way.
everyone goes like Gaga for Loki, and I'm like I'm not.
What?
I'm not like into it. It's
You're not
my
into
vibe.
Loki?
I like Loki as a
He's like
character,
my spirit animal.
but I'm not
He's
like.
fun to talk to.
Yeah, but I'm also not like, hey man, show me those horns. I don't know. Like,
That's what Taylor Swift said.
okay, well then, Captain America. I like Iron Man 3 quite a bit because I feel like it deals with a lot of like post-traumatic stress and
Okay,
like.
okay, yeah.
And I don't know. I liked Rhodey in that movie a lot, and
I like his-
I liked Pepper in that movie.
Yeah,
well,
she
it is
does.
weird. Also, the bad guy is the dude from Memento and LA
Oh,
Confidential,
yeah,
whose
yeah.
name is just escaping me right now, but I know who
mean,
he is.
we all know who you're
Yeah.
talking about. I don't.
And
remember
I
the
think
actor's
he's
name.
like very hot in that movie too. God,
Yeah,
sorry.
I mean, fair enough. But I don't know. I mean, I do like that one more because it is more of like an origin story and it is building.
Guy Pearce.
Oh, yes, thank you. It also is building, I feel like, that Tony Stark that we like come to love in Endgame.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's that character, evolvement that, I want to see that.
Yeah.
Too. So, okay, I'm curious. Tell
right,
tell me why Captain America's not a
okay.
good guy.
Civil War.
Okay.
Okay, great movie. Also directed by the Russos, who directed Winter Soldier. I think it's a really good movie. I think it's an enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
I think it exists on a thread, though. Like it's basically two people who are just like like the way they got the premise of them to fight each other. Like, I like that idea where it's like, oh, we need to be held accountable and these accords and all of this stuff. But
right.
But there is some, I don't like how they make Tony the bad guy in that movie at all, because his character kind of
shocker.
turns on a dime out of nowhere because of that woman who comes up to him in the beginning of the movie and like the son had died. And I get it. Especially after Iron Man 3 and the second Avengers movie.
Which, that brings up a very good point though, does it not? Because like, you know, I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like Sokovia and everywhere else.
Well,
like, if you're in the fallout zone, game over.
Tony did get carried away in that movie, I will say, because the creation, I mean, ultimately Vision did end up being a good guy, but it was like
I know, but
Dr. Frankenstein over there.
That's true. I know, but how many civilians is it going to take, Tony Stark?
Well, so, you know, and he turns on the dime. My problem with that movie is, I am sorry. Captain America, incorrect for defending Bucky. He murdered Tony Stark's mother and father, and he knew. He says he knew. I don't care. He was wrong. He's wrong to almost beat Iron Man to death within an inch of his life.
I just don't think he would have, though. I feel like that's why you don't like Captain America, so you think that you don't respect his character. I don't think he would have. Absolutely not. But their personalities are going to butt heads. You know, they're like water and oil or whatever. Like, they just don't, they're totally different people.
I mean, that movie gave us Chadwick Boseman, so.
Around Chris Evans. Captain America. Can't be doing that. So, you know, they're like totally different people. And I think that's why they like play off of each other. And I think it's hard too because they're both like kind of like leaders. And I think that's also part of the conflict is I think like Captain America is like trying to be that like figurehead of the Avengers. And then Tony Stark has an ego. So he's like, nah, man, I'm number one.
It's hard when you're right so often is what it is. Like, I just feel like I can't forgive it. I'd be one of those people where I'd be like, dude, you effed up. You should have told him.
Yeah.
You should have been like, hey man, there's this really bad thing that happened that I need you to talk about. And I need to explain that my friend is brainwashed and not like, you know what works? Talking. That's how we don't end up in the civil wars. We talk to each other.
I don't know. I mean, and I feel like though, but okay, did it not have to happen to get to Endgame? You know? They were going to fall apart over something else anyways, you know? So, I mean, to me, like, Captain America, he's the quintessential good guy. You know, Tony Stark is, like, newly good guy. So, and I mean, it's, like, hard for me because I think Captain America, Tony Stark had the first opportunity to be the martyr. I still think Captain America would have done it, you know? Also, like, if we're talking head-to-toe battle, like, toe-to-toe, all it takes is, like, you know, you just got to punch him in his little heart device.
Here's the thing.
And he gone.
So that man has a handicap, and he has become one of the best Avengers. And that's the thing is, like, Captain America, well, he got a serum, and that what makes him super strong. Tony Stark's just a guy. He's just a guy, a smart guy. Well, he's got money too. He's a Batman, I guess. And I mean, I don't love Batman, but
I know. But then I feel like that's not a great argument for him being a good guy. Like, you don't have to be special; you just have to have a lot of money. Is that what you're saying?
No, he was special and had a lot of money.
Captain America, they chose him.
What if Steve Jobs had been in the same situation? His heart thing would be playing music right now on shuffle, up in heaven.
Gotta put your earpods in first.
Yeah. So I mean.
Okay, then here's the other thing. I mean, Captain America became Captain America because it was like, he was like, you know, it was like his Cinderella moment. He was like, they saw his character and his humility. Could never.
I mean, that is true. I will. Steve Rogers, it's like something Stanley Tucci says in the movie about men who wield power and what they're given to, you know, and that's the thing, you know. So,
well, that's one thing we can't agree on.
Well, Stanley Tucci. Yeah. Everyone loves the Tooch.
It is law. So I think he's got that going for him. And the super serum, like, he can't deny it, you know? Like, think about all the other Avengers. Like, really, he's just, you know, he's just a suit.
So I rewatched
and the brain.
Endgame recently because it's been about 5 years since it was in the theater, which is crazy. And it was like the arc of Tony Stark, the arc of Tony Stark is like, you can see the change in his character when he has the daughter too. When he loses, you see here's the thing. I don't think there's enough. People poke fun at the Marvel movies, but like Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, there's some phenomenal acting, especially in the beginning of Endgame when he's ripped the thing off his chest and puts it in Cap's hand because Tony doesn't have the thing in his heart anymore. He got it taken out on the third one. So, you know, and it's like, but then he still comes back and he puts everything, and he's the one who loses the most. The rest of them get everything. Hawkeye's got his whole family.
I don't know. We lose some along the way.
Well, I guess Natasha didn't win much.
Yeah, I was going to say, we definitely lose some along the way.
And we lost the Gamora, too.
You know what I'm really, like, struggling with is, like, okay, so now I'm thinking about this. If I were Tony Stark, would I have done the same thing? I think maybe my boy that I love so much, Captain America, I would have been like, nah, dog. Handle this for me. I got a family.
There you go, Thanos. Well, you got to think you got to do it, or you're going to die too, because you're on the team that they're going to vaporize.
But couldn't somebody else do it, and then you could reap the rewards?
Well, the thing is, in the movie, he's the closest, and he's got to do it. But I do love that scene where you know, Doctor Strange is holding all the water, and Tony comes up to him, and looks at him, and he's doing he holds up like the one finger, and you're like, uh-oh. I'm not kidding though. When he snapped in the theater, I was that guy in the theater where I was
like audibly,
I wasn't the only one, but it was.
Oh no, you were.
And then I saw it again that night because I saw it like 3 times in like a span of 24 hours.
That's kind of like traumatic almost.
Oh, I love to torture myself like that. So I like tried to hold my breath. The second time, I thought I was going to pass out. So I was just like, okay. And you know what? I cried again. I cried again when I watched it the other day. So
I know. I am due for a rewatch. I should have rewatched before coming out here.
Final question: which do you like more, Infinity War or Endgame?
It's Endgame for me because it is just that like poignant like moments. It's what I feel like it's what
everything's going toward.
Yes, and then now, like I hate to say, everything feels a little pointless.
It feels a little like in the wind. Not to say I haven't liked other stuff. Like I love Shang-Chi. I liked Wakanda Forever. I liked.
Also sad though, and that's
the last
like
one?
we were
There was
just
another one I liked too, but yeah, I know that. But again, I was also the guy in the movie theater being like, oh God.
Yeah.
No, lift me up, hold me down.
Thanks, Riri.
I have people who will be like, "Oh, Infinity War is a superior movie." I'm not.
It's a great.
That's
movie.
Up for debate. Endgame has a lot of fan service in it, like the moment when all the women are like coming together and stuff, and she won't be. But here's the thing. It
also, Avengers Assemble.
Avengers Assemble. Yeah, which I was thinking about that when I was rewatching it, where I was like, unless you like know what he was going to say, you're like, if I was one of the people in the crowd, like in the movie, like you know, I'm part of the movie, I'd be like, why is this guy taking forever to say the word assemble? He's just yelling. He yells Avengers, and it's like 10 minutes of a panning shot, and then he goes assemble, and I'm like,
okay,
but then they also start running.
That line?
They start running, and you're like, why are they running? Why would assemble mean run? We're already assembled. Hey, Captain America, I know you're almost 100, but if you looked behind you, we're all behind you. We did assemble. Did you mean Avengers run? Avengers attack?
Oh, no.
Just saying.
I mean, also, okay, so I feel like you just gave me more fuel. He's 100 years old. He's more valuable. Captain America is forever. So.
Well.
I'm telling you, like, America's booty.
Oh, well, there you have it.
Let me know in the comments what you think about it and how you feel.
So we'll need the feedback. I wish there was a poll I could just put out there somehow, but I can't. So we'll have to know your thoughts on the conversation, your thoughts, which character. Have we swayed you one way or the other?
Probably not. But you're thinking about that booty, though.
Yeah, I mean, I like Iron Man, so whatever.
Hey, I got one parting word for you. Love you 3000.
Yeah, exactly. Again, heartstrings, iconic.
It is true.
Anyway, that is going to do it for this very special episode of Tap House Talks. Again, please leave us comments if you are watching this on YouTube. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you are listening to this, please send some emails out to the podcast email or get in touch with us some way, because I'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings on this discussion.
Yeah.
And when you get a second, rate and review the podcast. That would be wonderful. Thanks again to all of our Patreon supporters who make videos like this possible. You might be regretting it right now, but I'm
Cheers
not.
to you.
So thank you. And when planning your next Disneyland vacation, don't forget about the folks over at Dreams Unlimited Travel. They can get you over here. It costs you nothing extra to book with them, and you help support the channel and all the content that we produce. So again, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com for a free no obligation quote today. That is going to do it for us. Hannah's going to be walking back to her hotel alone. Like, it doesn't even sound like we're staying. We're in the same hotel. We're not staying in the same room together.
Where are we?
Whatever. Anyway.
You want to duke it out on web slingers?
Yeah, we might have to.
Yeah. Love you 3000.